Hey there, UniWarriors. I'm Goblin here once again. So I haven't done one of these in a minute. I saw a round here in a game I'm playing that I thought would be really fun to add to my tactical round series, and it arises with a fairly common problem that I've seen newer players really struggle with, and it has to do with what I like to call pressure point positioning. And some of these tactics are things that you can take and apply to other concepts, but what I really mean by pressure point positioning is when you have a very small, narrow land bridge that separates two continents. Now, this can happen at one single point, or it could separate land masses between pressure points at multiple pressure points on a map. But I see a lot of new players that don't really know how to deal with these, and the primary thing that I feel is important when dealing with these types of pressure point situations is to look at the tile squares that are the most important to keep control of. And when I say that in this map, for example, it's absolutely going to be these two health tiles in the center. These health tiles, if you can hang on to them, make it so that anything that I put on that health tile, the opposite enemy really needs to eliminate that unit in order to effectively regain control of this pressure point area. It's very difficult. You can't really get through this bridge area unless you have control of the health tiles themselves. So what I'm going to do here, one thing that I've set up, I've got my copter in the back, and then I've got my marine wall in front. And this is a very common tactic. We call it the marine wall, and it allows me to get the first strike with the helicopter against the speeder on that first health tile, which is absolutely got to be my first focus point. And then I can dart that helicopter right nicely behind that marine, and there's no way for it to get retaliation. This Mantis in the back here doesn't have enough firepower or any tiles to get a bonus against the helicopter. These speeders in the back can't really reach it. This one Mantis can get maybe a -1 against it, but then it puts it in a very vulnerable position on that swamp tile, which I have the majority control of. So this helicopter very nicely relaxed in the back. Now the next move I want to do is I have the gang up on this square, the +2 gang up if I attack on the same square with another unit. And I've got this full health Marauder, and I'm going to do the same trick with the Marauder that I did before, where I'm going to come down and I get the full 4 health shot and elimination on that speeder. And now this health tile is free for me to regain control of. If I can place a unit on there, as long as he's wasting forces to try and kill a unit on this health tile, there's no way for him to really place a unit next turn. So even if I don't get to keep a unit on that tile, he's not going to be able to regain control. And then I have a contested space, and I have non-contested. This belongs to me. This unit, this healing tile in the center as well. So now we got to look for we have a couple of options here. I could come down and eliminate this Mantis immediately, which is a pretty fair trade-off. And now I've got that Marauder sitting out here. The problem is when I come forward with this marine to that forest tile, you'll notice that I have a 4 to 5 exchange against the mecha on the base, which is I feel like you should be able to get a better exchange, considering that the mechas only get +1/+1 and I get a +2/+3 on the forest. This is a very weak roll for me. So what I want to do is see if I can exchange the rolls in a way that I get a better exchange and still get to keep the net damage. So let's rework our steps here again. I go here for the 2 shot against the speeder, then dart him back behind the marine wall. Then I want to take my full health Marauder, eliminate the speeder, and free up that health tile. Then take this, instead of going immediately for the Mantis kill, first let's see what kind of roll I get with the marine. And now it's a 5 against 5 exchange. A little bit more even and a better exchange. And then after I pull that, I have to see if I get to keep that same exchange against the Mantis. And if you look at that, it's exactly the same. So the roll with the Marauder and the Mantis doesn't change, but the roll with the Marine and the Mecha does. Therefore, I want to do this one after, and that's how we manipulate the sequencing. Now that Mantis is down, and now this swamp tile is now completely uncontested. It is within my control, and he has no way to approach this spot. That's going to be important later coming on in other following rounds. Now, the next thing I really want you to pay attention to is the positioning of this engineer relative to the health tile that I already have control of. This health tile is pretty powerful, but I can really increase its healing potential if I combine it with the engineer. Now, some people, I see a lot of new players, when they have an engineer, they get a little overprotective of them, which is a good instinct. So I might see some people do something where they push this Marine up to block and now have him in the forest tile against this against this healing tile. But this while this seems like it's deceptively better because of the terrain, it puts you in closer proximity to everything around here, particularly this Mantis, and makes it a lot more risky to put it. Well, much better positioning for that engineer is going to be this space where the Marauder is right now. So let's rework our steps real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. Coming down with this helicopter, getting a -2 shot, bringing him back, retracing our steps, eliminating their, taking control of the health space, then going for the Marauder versus Mecha first for the better roll, coming down with the 8 health Marauder, eliminating the Mantis at no extra cost on the roll exchange. And then I want to take this engineer and put him up in this space. And yes, now he's still vulnerable to the Mantis. But if you'll notice, the Mantis has to come up in order to get this space. The Mantis has to come up to, excuse me, one of these two spaces, both of which are vulnerable to these two spaces, particularly here on the healing tile. So he has to really make that Mantis vulnerable. He can't bring it up to this spot very easily, and this is the only spot that he realistically wants that Mantis to sit on. So this engineer is going to remain relatively unharmed, and I get the bonus of keeping this engineer, this Marine here, and with combining the Marine with the engineer, I get that nice little +2 health, and I have extra healing on this tile, and now this Marine is on a much more secure spot on this forest tile, where he can jump up and he's got control of all, he's got firing potential in this entire row here, which is going to be valuable in the next round. So the next thing that you want to do, now that I've increased the healing potential, instead of going for a double heal on this health tile, that's nice. I get now that I've brought on 1 health Marauder to a 7 health Marauder, but that Marauder is going to have to waste an entire turn next round getting back up to this position. It's much more effective. No, I don't want to start the whole turn. It's much more effective if I take this Marauder, put him on this healing spot that I've now increased with the engineer, and get the same +6, but now he's in a much better positioning. It's way harder to, now I'd much rather have the Marauder on that healing tile and keep it occupied so that nothing else can snake that healing tile away from me. And now, even if you do get the shot against him, he's got a +6 heal every turn. Last couple of units that we want to talk about, and then with this Marine, I like putting this Marine onto the forest tile, so, no, yeah. I want to keep him, I would normally want to put him where the helicopter is, but the helicopter is blocking the spot. I don't want him here, because then he can only move up as far as this forest or this healing tile, which is not going to have, I want his potential for attacks to be a little bit more engaging. What I really want is control of these 3, so that if another Mantis pops up on the board, or maybe he goes for this spot, I have control here. Then I'll push him up to this forest tile next turn, and then he'll have control of these rounds. As for this Marine, a lot of players might put him on the forest tile where he's got, but there's nothing threatening that forest tile. Much better to push him up to this position where he can move a little bit further up to this spot on the next round, and now he's got a little bit more control of the center. Notice how everything is putting all of this pressure of control on these couple of styles. Oh, I don't want to repair just yet. On these couple of tiles around here. Finally, I don't want to extend myself too far. Some players might say, ooh, I have the advantage, I have the credit advantage of 2250 over 1350 right now after those couple of kills. So I've got a pretty heavy credit advantage. So it might seem like a good idea. Oh, why don't I extend myself? Go for the 1 shot here. Then go for the 3 shot as well. And now I've weakened that 1 speeder. But that's really not going to be a very good decision. Much better to not overextend myself and risk losing 2 Marauders and 500 credits, and then suddenly we've evened up the score. What I'd rather do, if we can just rework these steps real quick again, is I'm going to want to keep those Marauders where they are, controlling the center and blocking any of the remaining forces from really being able to move in and encroach on my position. Last kill here. Stay. Whoa, 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 whoa. How'd this guy? I didn't want to move that guy there. Not what I wanted to do. Whoops. There. Kill. Don't move back. You get the 5 shot. You gotta, it's like playing a game of Simon sometimes with memorizing the steps. There's another kill. Move you right here. You are going to go up here. Get the nice heal. Get the extra super heal. Bring you forward down to that forest tile. Actually, I'm not so convinced that I like that spacing. I'm actually going to move him here, because then he's going to have control. Then he can move up to the healing tile next turn if I need something to sit on that space. So I actually like having the Marine here. He can get into the action a little bit more. I want to get that one extra heal and put that on the full health, so that if I need to next turn, I can move him here, or I can move the Engineer down and get the full health. Note that the Engineer has the potential to heal all 4 of these units. There's a very nice surround around him. Then, now that I've got control of the healing tile with that Marauder, I can get another +3 heal, bring him back up to full health, and I have a very, very secure position. Nothing is going to encroach up into this area. I've got the bridge under full lockdown for next turn. Very little that he can do. And now for the last remaining units. Now, a lot of people would say go for the helicopter now that I have the 500. But if you look at my earning, I get 450 every round. And what I'd really like to have is the amphibian. The amphibian is going to be very useful because I have full control over this swamp tile, which puts more pressure on this back line. And if I really want to extend, I can go for pressure on this back line right here and get a couple of free shots. What I can also do is get an additional Marauder out here, and the Marauder can get out into the situation right away on the next turn. And then it leaves me with the 50 credits at the top here, and I'll combine that 50 credits with the 450 next round and go for the additional helicopter when it's a little bit more secure for that helicopter to go in and attack and whittle down its health. So I think this is very good positioning for this map. I just wanted to talk about this particular round. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to put it down in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And look for my live streams, which are going to be coming up again this weekend and the following weekends. I'm trying to keep it on a regular schedule. If you want to be informed about how the live streaming schedule as it unfolds, make sure to join me on my social media platforms at OnWeGoblin for both Facebook and Twitter. Links to that in the comment sections below. Thanks a lot, guys. This is OnWeGoblin signing out.